All right, so we got the final match here against Nihal. He's probably the toughest guy I've got yet. I played badly last time, but hopefully I'll play better today and give him a bit of a fight. So good luck to you, Nihal. Let's have a good match, and let's get started. So I'm going to open with c4 this time, because I was doing d4 and d4 in the previous games. Let's see what Nihal can do to me. $32.88. I don't know if that's a high rating, but it looks pretty high. I don't play, as you can tell by my Dutch flag and my low rating, but 3,200. I'm told that I think that should be a pretty high rating, right? So he's gonna be good. F6. Okay, so let's go G3. I haven't decided if I want to play boring or aggressively against Nihal, really, because usually against kids you wanted boring, but he's a very strategic guy, so I'm not sure. So let's see. I think he was playing this with Donchenko as well, and I'm not convinced this line is okay for black. Let's see if he has done any further preparation. I think he was often getting bad positions, but we'll see. Okay, so knight f3. I thought you were supposed to play c6 first, but this I thought was supposed to be sort of okay for white. If rook e8, I can take on e5, so he has to play d6, I think, or maybe knight c6, but okay, d6, so d4. Let's take as much of the center as I can, and see if he has any big ideas to cause me a huge amount of pain. But if I can castle and play like b3, bishop b2, I mean, I should just be better. So we'll see if he can do something to stop that from happening. h6, sure. Okay, I don't understand it, so I'm just going to pretend it didn't happen and castle. All right, so b3. Get the bishop to b2, and this is pretty nice coordination for white. But that said, it's of course very solid for black, so it's going to take some effort to break him down, of course. It's not like I'm just going to crush him or anything. All right, so I think I should play h3 before anything else. I don't really believe he's going to take on d4, so h3 will at least force this bishop to make a decision as to where it wants to go. So he wants h5, fair enough. And now let's go queen d2. I really don't think he's going to take on d4 and e2. That really feels like it would be asking for trouble. But here, I'm pretty comfortable with white's position so far. So knight d7, knight e5. Let's just put the rook in the center and see what happens. Seems reasonable enough. At some point, knight f5 could be a thing, but I think I want to start with like rook fe1 and stay as solid in the center as possible and not try to complicate the game too drastically. Once I play rook fe1, knight a4 could be an idea. It's okay, so he takes this. He wants to trade this stuff off. That's fine. I thought I would have tremendous compensation here, but we'll see if that is true. So I guess bishop f3 is a good start, but then not so clear actually. Bishop f3. I was thinking bishop f3, rook e6, bishop g4, but then he has knight e5, which is a bit annoying. So I'm just going to go rook fe1 and claim I have fair compensation for a missing pawn here because my bishops are very powerful and his development is lagging pretty badly. It's probably about equal, though. I don't think it's going to be that bad for him. He could play queen e7. Okay, yeah, just as I said that he did. Do I have anything fantastic here? Probably not, but let's see. So king f1, he will play rook over to e8. And then, yeah, I'm sort of out of steam, but let's go maybe bishop c3 just to overprotect the rook. And now I'm threatening to potentially take on d6 if he's not careful. Or bishop f3 or bishop f1 or just some move. I mean, I probably was a bit careless here, but it's fine. I have a big time advantage, which is nice. Okay, so rook e1, rook e1. Where does the queen go? f8. Seems reasonable. So rook back to d1. How does he save his stuff? He probably has to. If he plays knight e8, I'm a very happy guy. I mean, that's a really passive move. I mean, I still think he's probably fine here, even though his pieces aren't great. The extra pawn should matter for something. I mean, maybe he can play d5 here and try to liquidate, but this does feel like black's under a bit of pressure. Maybe I'm just too optimistic, but okay. So he does play knight e8. And now just go like, can play b4 to play b5 is maybe not so stupid. Yeah, let's go b4 and start to try to gain space on the other side of the board as well. So a6 seems reasonable. Let's go a4. I'm not a subtle man. I'm very direct in what I want here. Should not be hard to see. But yeah, he should be okay. So that now I could invade with queen a7, but I'm going to proceed along with my plan of b5 and trying to loosen his position a bit more. So take, sure. CB, and now I have to decide if I want to take on b7 or on b5. I think I'll take on b5. And he can go knight c5 here, for example, but after b6, his knight on e8 is very bad. And I have chances to... Okay. Actually, I'm very tempted to take this knight. Hang on. So if I take the knight, rook takes d8, queen e7, rook b8, he cannot stop me from taking on b7. That's a very good pawn. Where is his king going? Oh man, this is very tempting to go sacrifice my queen here. But I'm going to be a bit more patient, at least for now, I think. So queen is c5. Nah, I'm just asking for trouble if I sack the queen. I mean, it's tempting, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to artificially isolate this pawn and now play like bishop b4 and challenge the knight. And if he plays knight e6, I can play like queen e4. Okay, so rook to a8, sure. If I take and go queen d7, I think I'm going to take his b7 pawn, but that might not be the end of the world for him. But let's do it. I want to grab this pawn on b7. He's probably okay-ish here, but it's a little dangerous for black, definitely. King f8, sure. So I guess I take on b7. And then I go like, if I play... So I think I have to take on e7 first and then go bishop c6. And now I'm threatening rook e1, so I'm going to get b7 in, but he may well save this in time with knight d6. Yeah, okay. So b7, he cannot take it because of rook d7. But this c pawn is pretty annoying. Let's see if my king can go catch it. Seems to not quite be in time, which is rather a shame. So this is going to be a draw. I think I had good chances here, but Nihal was crafty and escaped. So let's take this one and I guess pray, but bishop d5. Yeah, he's going to save this rook c8 or something. Rook b5, fine. Bishop b3, I guess. Realistically, we should just be let's just offer him a draw. I think this is fine. He doesn't want to draw, or did he not see it? I don't know. But okay, let's just go like this. And I offered him a draw. I don't know if he saw it, but let's just play whatever here. Bishop d5. G4. So let's take and offer him a draw again. This time maybe he'll take it. Okay, so interesting first game. I think I had some good chances, but I didn't manage to put him away. So But I'm happy to play that line again. Let's see what he comes up with for white. So d4, I'm not going to play my trustable repertoire. I trust that he will have done his homework. So let's just play this way, I guess. He can play knight c3 here, but I never really thought those positions were so great for white. So we'll see what he wants. Okay, so he does want knight c3, but I always thought black was reasonably comfortable in these positions. All right, so knight a6. It's gonna go like 2. Sure, so I'll castle. Maybe I'm just castling into h4, but I don't think I'm super concerned. If I go c6, knight c3, c5, h5, queen b6, looks dangerous for me, but I'm just going to do it. I think I have to be aggressive in a position like this one. So he's welcome to play h5, but after queen b6, I'm going to get a lot of counterplay, and it's hard for him to just like throw his pieces and give checkmate as if nothing happened, because his queen will have trouble getting into the attack. This is definitely dangerous for me, but I don't think it's bad. So I'm going to attack his center, always just play forward moves and blitz and see what happens. If I get queen b6 in next, it's going to be pretty hard for him to hold it all together. So he doesn't believe me. Fair enough. Let's see what happens. This is going to get messy. Rook b1, but now I thought if I like take this, if I go knight b4, I'm threatening bishop f5, which he has to take very seriously. And if he plays a3, then after knight c6, he will struggle to defend d4. So I'm also threatening queen d4 here. So if a3, maybe even queen d4. Yeah, actually, I already really like my position. I think his kingside play is too slow. So a3, queen d4. If ab, there is queen f4. And if the bishop moves, I can trade queens and retreat my knight. So queen d4 is a big threat. Bishop f5 is a big threat. I think I'm already doing reasonably well here, but it's still very messy. Like if he has to play knight f3 and walk right into bishop f5. Okay, so he plays a3. Does he? Am I missing something, or is queen d4 good? So queen d4, bishop wherever, e3 or something. Queen takes on. All right, let's just take on d4 and see what he has in mind. Given that he hasn't moved yet, my guess is he just missed this move. And I think black is already very comfortable. I mean, I'm not just like winning yet or anything. He's probably going to be able to take on d5 later, but this feels like things are going very well so far. Bishop d2, sure. I'm very tempted to start sacrificing stuff. So let's see. If I play knight g4, maybe he can just go knight h3 then. Bishop d2 is a good move. I can take on c2 and go bishop f5. That looks not totally stupid either. But if maybe I should just be boring and play knight back to c6, knight f3, queen b6, and how bad can that be? I don't think he can get away with bishop e3 because of d4. So let's just be boring and play knight back to c6. I should be playing fast, so I think I'm reasonably safe here. And if bishop e3, I think I can play d4, and then knight takes d4, rook d8. So d4, knight d4, rook d8. What's the big idea? Knight a4 or something? Queen c7 and looks good. If d4, bishop takes d4, knight takes d4, I'm just better, but maybe I should start with queen. No, let's just go d4. He will have to give up his dark squared bishop here, which is very bad news for white. I'm trying to play quickly here is my main prerogative. If knight takes d4, rook d8 looks like it's basically the end unless I'm missing something, but my pieces are springing to life alarmingly fast, and white isn't castled, and I think opening the center is good policy. If he plays bishop d4, knight d4, and queen d4, I'm not going to like crush him in 3 moves, but it's very unpleasant for white when I have that bishop unopposed. Maybe I could even play knight takes h5 then, yeah, okay, so let's take this. So if I go queen takes d4, knight takes d4, knight takes h5, that looks like a pawn up, so I'm going to do it. Knight h5, and if he takes on h5, I will have, okay, so now knight f4 comes, and I think I should be approximately winning here. So that I'm just going to develop my pieces and let him start taking pawns if he wants them. I think I'm going to take more of them, and mine are going to be better. So this looks very good for me. c1, okay, a6, and where does this knight go? I don't see it. If knight c7, I might flick in bishop takes c3 check while he can't take back properly, and then, yeah, so bishop c3, bc, rook a c8, knight d5, and that looks absolutely finished. So let's do it. Take, rook a c8, knight d5. I will take it and take on c3, and I'm taking all of his pawns, and this looks basically winning. So I'm happy with that. All right, so now how do I want to do this? I can take on a3. I can play rook b8 first. I can play probably a5 is the most professional decision. a5. Yeah, it seems fine, right? a5. If king d2, sort of awkward. Let's start with rook b8 now. Kick this bishop. Let him figure that out before anything else. Bishop d5, fine. I guess e6. And then let this bishop move again. Bishop b3 is fine because I thought I can play rook bc8 here, and I will take on c2 and should be routinely winning. But do I want to start with like rook c5 or something first? Let's just start with king g7. He's not doing anything. He cannot play like rook e2 or anything like that. So just keep on making moves and he's sort of stuck. All right, so that's actually doing something semi-active. I guess take on c2 seems fine. And now rook c1 looks like the end because I'm going to come and take the a3 pawn. If I had played rook c7, he could have taken and played rook e5, which would have been a bit less clear, but still winning. Okay, so good start, but I expect it will get tougher in the coming games. So let's go c4 again. I was pretty satisfied with that start. So let's see if I can play this line again. c5, sure. Let's go knight f3 and knight c3, and then let's play g3. I guess is probably fine. If d5, I'll play d4, which is this move is actually a bit more challenging than it looks, I think. But we'll see. Let's go d4 and see what happens. See if he knows what he's doing here. DC, and I thought this was supposed to be sort of reasonable for white, but let's start with bishop d2. I think this is kind of a clever and tricky idea. The point is I want to quickly play rook c1 and take on c4, and I'm not actually sure that I want to play bishop g2 because bishop g2 and knight d5 reasonably solid. Okay, so rook b8, and if I go rook c1, I'm gonna go try to take this pawn from him, and now if bishop e6, bishop g2, and it's harder for him to play knight d5, I guess. But he's probably fine here, more or less, but let's see. I think the best move is knight e4 now, but I could be wrong. Okay, bishop e6. I don't think this is supposed to be great. So bishop g2, bishop d5. I guess I castle, and then I don't know. Maybe it's not that easy, but bishop g2, bishop d5, castles, e6 or something, and then it's probably more or less okay for him, but let's just do it because it looks like it's challenging practically, and that's what we're all about here. Pretty soon I'm going to start going knight e3 and knight takes c4 and just sacrificing some pawns to activate the pieces as hard as I can. If e6 can play like bishop c3, threatening potentially bishop takes f6 followed by e4. Yeah, so let's say I play bishop c3 here. If he plays bishop e7, I think bishop f6 is working pretty well. Yeah, if I get bishop f6 next, I will be able to play e4 and then trap his bishop on d5, so he would have to take back on g2, but after then king takes g2 and rook takes c4, he's left with a pretty bad structure. So this move looks actually a bit annoying for him to deal with. I mean, maybe he can play f3, but bishop e5 comes, and then it's the rook has to move, and then knight e3, and I'm starting to like my position quite a bit. Okay, wait, bishop e7, so bishop takes f6, bishop g2, king g2, bishop f6, rook c4, bishop b2, and is he sort of alive there? Rook c6, castle, rook a6, bishop d4, and he's alive. So bishop f6, bishop g2 looks like it saves him, at least for the moment. If bishop g7, bishop f1, and he's good. If bishop e7, bishop f1, and he's good. So bishop f6 isn't as exciting as I was hoping, but it might still be decent. Bishop f6, bishop f6, bishop f6, bishop g2, king g2, bishop f6, rook c4, bishop b2, yeah. Seems like a big draw. But maybe I can't do better than that, so I shouldn't complain too much. Let's see. I could start with bishop e5 and ask his rook for a move. That's probably not totally stupid, but let's go bishop e5 and see what happens. Potentially I could play knight e3 next as well and then try to take on c4. But where is his rook going, I think, is a good question to start with. So b7, fine. So now knight e3. And how does he save the c4 pawn without something bad happening? Fair enough, let's find out. And maybe he can play rook b4, a3, rook a4, but that's exceptionally ugly. If I can play knight takes c4, I should definitely be a bit better. I don't know how much, but because his bishop on d5 is still pretty annoying, but okay, so I'm going to get this c4 pawn. And now, what gives? Knight d7, sure, so bishop d4, he can play rook b4 is a bit annoying, but rook b4, b3, and it's still some pressure, I think. Bishop d6, bishop takes d6, knight d6, rook b2 should be good for black. So I guess I have to go bishop d4. Yeah, rook b4, b3. c5, that I'm a little surprised by because now he cannot take my knight on c4 because his rook is hanging. In fact, that being the case, maybe I should have even put the bishop on c3. But okay, so knight b6, I guess I'll go like knight a5. Seems like a sensible move, attack this rook. And then let's go b3 to keep everything protected. Or wait, can I go bishop f4, rook c8, e4, bishop a2, b3? I don't think so. He has c4 there. And if rook a1, there is bishop c4, and he's just in time to hold everything together. All right, so I got to play b3. That's a little bit sad, but I do think I'm fine. Now bishop f4 looks pretty good for me. So rook d7, let's go rook fd1, I guess. Challenge this bishop a bit. h6, sure. Maybe knight c4 back. Let's go h4, just make a move for anything else, not get too low on time. King f8, all right, so I'm gonna go knight c4 back. If he takes on c4 with the bishop, maybe, or with the knight, maybe I can play bc, bishop c6, bishop c6, and land my rook on d7, where it's a bit annoying, but he's probably okay there. f6 is a bit surprising, but let's see. Okay, so if I go bishop h3, what does he do? I don't really see it. Let's find out. King d7, I suppose that's logical. Yeah, bishop h3 is stupid. Oh well, it's fine. g5. Okay, I'll take that because why not? Can I play bishop g5? I don't think so. So bishop back to g2. I gotta speed up. This is bad. I'm playing way too slowly. Yeah, you see there, I just blundered bishop g2, and now his rook's gonna get to d2. Oh, what a doofus I am, but he didn't see it. So that's lucky for me. Rook d2. Rook c7. Let's go rook c2. Take, sure, knight d5, bishop d2. But I think I'm very happy to have exchanged off this pair of bishops. And now he's left with a bad bishop and a bad structure, and this is going to be very good chances for me. Okay, so I'll start by bringing the king somewhere a bit more sensible, then knight c4 to artificially isolate the c5 pawn. At any moment, e5 could come. Rook c6. So if I go e5 here, I can ruin his structure, so let's do it. Knight c4. Let's take on f6 and then take back on c4, and now he has way too many weak pawns. I should be winning. b4 is coming. Unless he sees it, but okay, rook g4 first. Let's go rook a4, just start gaining some time with some useless moves. That's a good start. So here, just to play that. Okay, so my first goal here is not to lose on time, so I'm just going to start making some less than useful moves for at least a little bit before coming up with an actual plan. That's bishop d4 check. Bishop d4, yeah, let's just do it. Takes. Oh, he has e5. It's a bit annoying. Okay, so I'll take this one and then get my king to e4, but now I've screwed this up a bit. Takes. Check here, take. I'll go check. King comes to e4. Maybe I still have some chances, but I think I've screwed this up quite a bit. a4, take. Yeah, he's going to hold this. That's a problem here. All right, I screwed this up. I really should have won this game. It's off from a draw. Okay, that's disappointing, but that's all right. So let's go here. New game. All right, let's see if he wants this d4 thing again. He's probably going to deviate in some way. Must have been winning there at some point. All right, so knight f3, let's go d5. b3, sure. Let's go bishop f5. I think here I'll just follow the chessable repertoire. I don't see a reason not to. Go h6, stop any hope of knight h4. And then we'll duck the bishop back to h7 and go like knight b6. Okay, so c4, c6 is fine. a3, a5, and then Let's go knight b d7, and I believe if he plays bishop c3 now, I should play c5, because this is the right moment when if he takes it, I can take back with the pawn when he's not in time to play d4 or anything like that, and this, I think, is pretty good for me. The bishop on c3 all of a sudden has become misplaced. I can also consider cd taking with the knight on d5, but I think I should take with the pawn. And this bishop is just badly misplaced is the problem for white. I'm pretty sure I gave this in the chessable course. But yeah, I think already black is maybe a little bit more comfortable, but not much. I mean, it's hard to imagine white's really worse here, but I'm certainly comfortable with my position. Take, a4, and now let's say I go. I guess that's a clever move, but let's start with rook e8. Seems fine. If e4, I'm tempted to play c4 and sacrifice a pawn. All right, let's go rook c8. He's probably going to throw e4 at me sooner or later, but e4, I'm very tempted by c4 and just sack a pawn and get some very good squares for my pieces. Rook d1, sure. So let's go. Maybe knight b8 isn't so stupid. Knight b8, e4, knight c6, and seems fine. Let's go knight b8 and see what happens. If e4, I'm going to ignore it with knight c6, and if knight e5, I'm ready with bishop d6. So the knight will be very good on c6, is the point. And okay, bishop h3 is a clever move. Yeah, it was just stupid, actually, on my part. I shouldn't have allowed this. Because if rook c7, he has bishop a5, so I guess I'll go knight fd7, but that's so ugly. Oh man, I'm getting outplayed this game. Okay, rook c6, and then knight e5. Good grief. I'm such a knucklehead. How did I blunder bishop h3? So knight fd7, e4. So terrible. All right, let's go rook c6. This is extremely ugly, but my knight can still come to a6, which is not the worst square, I guess. But yeah, this was very careless to allow bishop a6, bishop h3 like that. And if he plays knight e5, rook a6, my rook is sort of silly, but he can't really do anything with the knight on e5, and bishop d6 is coming, so this probably isn't that terrible, but if I was going to play this knight b8 plan, I probably should have played it immediately and not bothered with rook c8 first. All right, so let's get the knight to a6, and then the knight coming to b4 is probably going to be pretty good. But yeah, so did I just blunder again? That's fine. Rook d6 is ugly, but maybe serviceable. Yeah, I got to play rook d6. I'm getting outplayed pretty badly this game. But that's okay. I've survived worse positions than this. He can take f7 and play e5, but rook c6, and I don't think he has that much. I don't really see another square for his knight to move to threaten e5. All right, so he disagrees. He thinks this is chances for white. Maybe he's right, but I didn't think this looked so bad. At some point, c4 could now come. Like, all of a sudden, my bishop on h7 isn't so stupid. Okay, knight f3, I go knight b4, and then I'm already starting to wonder if I'm better. Let's start with knight b4. That seems like a good place to begin. Where does this queen go? Does she even have a square? If he has to take on b4, I'm absolutely thrilled. Because, I mean, if my knight lands on d3, that's a pretty good knight all of a sudden. Yeah, so he had to take on b4. That's a very bad sign for him and a very good sign for me. Should I take, which pawn do I take with though? Let's be an adult and take with the a pawn. C takes b4 was tempting as well, but this is probably much easier. Alright, so take, don't really want to let him play knight e5. Yeah, this was actually stupid, I should have taken with the c pawn. Alright, so I go queen b8, I guess, to stop knight e5, and I've definitely misplayed this a bit, but what else is new? Okay, so bishop d7, I guess I have to play rook c7, not much choice on that one. But this is fine. Oh shoot, no, it's not fine. What a dunce I am. How did I get outplayed so badly this game at every single moment? Oh boy, rough day. Queen d6, let's go rook e7, challenge this rook. Even the thing is, even this isn't that terrible. I mean, I've been totally outplayed this game. I've blundered like several times, but I don't think this is that horrendous. Let's keep this queen out of my face and get the king the g7 square. King g7. All right. Bishop d4, I guess, looks like a nice active move. Queen f3, sure. Queen e1 check is knight back to f1, and he's sort of safe. So let's go bishop g6. Knight e4, sure, I don't really see what he's doing, so I'm going to ignore it. Okay, so h5, start to gain space on the king side. h3. If I take on e4 and go queen f6, that looks very drawn to me, but I'm not sure I'm ready to be that desperate just yet. I guess let's just play. Okay, hang on. Take on e4, queen f6, take, king f3 or something. No, he has bishop e2. That's the winner. Okay, so I got to be more careful. Let's just make a move queen e5 and let him figure out how to make progress here. It's not going to be easy. All right, so queen back to e7. And queen e5. He's probably not going to make a draw here, but that's okay. I mean, I think I have decent position. All right, so knight f1. Let's go queen f6 and threaten the queen exchange. If he exchanges, I think my bishop pair is pretty reasonable. All right, so he's okay with the queen trade, but he wants the knight out first. That makes sense, I guess. Guess I can play like queen e5 and queen b7. Getting outplayed every game is just gross. Well, knight d5, I thought I could play bishop f7, but I guess not. He has some knight p6. Okay, queen d6. Knight e3. Let's go queen d7, I guess. Knight d5. So g4 is possible, but I'm not that desperate. Let's go queen d6 back. Queen e2, sure. Let's go bishop f7, I guess. Knight e7 is a good move. King f6, though. Check. And I've just, well, I think this is more or less lost, but I can at least sort of fight on here. And f3. Okay, we're going to try this endgame, but it's probably losing. h4, take, and then here. This is almost certainly lost. Now his king will just run to c6. That should be the end. So there, king f5. King f3, bishop f6. g5. Actually, now I might hold it because my king gets to e5 and my bishop comes to h6. Now I think I'm holding. Yeah, his king doesn't have a root in. So here. Yeah, I think I draw this now. I don't see how his king gets in. Sure, bring your bishop wherever you want. Yeah, I think I hold this now. His king doesn't have a way. Okay, so I take that. I'm confused. You want to bring the king back that way? Sure. but I don't think it will help you very much. King e4, I guess. Check, king f4. Here. Bishop a8. Okay, here. I'm going to go after his pawns a bit. C4, I'll take this. But now he's, yeah, damn, he's so good. Okay, so if he takes this pawn on b6, at least I can make some trouble for him with d3 check. He can play bishop to d2, of course, bishop d3, of course. That's probably a pretty good move, yeah. So I guess I gotta take this, and then bishop f2 here, and he has a6 just in time. That's a bummer. But maybe I can actually, how does he stop this pawn? d2 comes. This is going to be annoying for him because my bishop is going to be a very good blockader. And I think I was drawing this easily at some point, but now I'm not so sure. So here and now bishop f2, I guess. Sure. And here. This might be a draw now, actually. It'd be pretty sick if it is, but my bishop just stops all the important checks. So if I save this game, I mean, it's ridiculous, of course. I was dead lost, but here, sure, check. Keep checking me all you want. You can't force me to d1, I don't think, so. All right, so I saved this position, which I had no business saving, but I also shouldn't have been, I was also better in the first place, so it's fine. All right, so I guess that makes up for the previous game where I was better. All right, so more c4. Let's see if he can do anything here. So c4, e5 again. We're back to this stuff. That's fine. Well, he played knight f6 on the first move previously, but we quickly got this position. Okay, so he wants g6, but I always thought these setups were a little uncomfortable for black. We'll see. He just got some close Sicilian with the tempo up for me. All right, so I think you're supposed to delay castling if I'm not wrong. Because he's going to like throw h5 at me if I castle. But okay, let's start with rook b1 and get these guys moving. Sure, a5, a3, e6. I think you normally meet bishop e6 with knight d5, so I'm going to do it. If queen d7, I'm again, I think, going to delay castling for a move, but we'll see. Actually, no, I'm not scared of bishop h3. I'm going to castle here. And they usually play like knight d8 or something, but it's not super impressive. I think I'm doing pretty well here. Maybe castling was impatient, but okay, rook c8. That's a mysterious move. So he wants to. Oh no, okay, never mind. It's not mysterious. He wants bishop h3. But let's go b4 and now take. If bishop h3, I believe b5 wins a piece. So he has to be a bit careful about that. This is always a little pressure for white. If I get b5 and force the knight back to d8, and then he's not able to play bishop h3 without taking on d5 first, I think I'm definitely going to be better. But I think I've been better most of my games here, and I haven't been winning them, so it's not like that guarantees anything. All right, so knight d8 right away. Fair enough. I guess I should take on e7 while he can't take back with anything intelligent, and then go knight c3. And I'm potentially ready. Now b5 comes, and he's under a fair amount of pressure here. So let's take this and go bishop a3 to put more pressure on his position. It's hard for me to believe that his kingside attack will do much when the center is opening like this. Knight f7, sure. So if I go like rook b6, what do you do? Seems very powerful. Queen a7, I have queen b3, so that doesn't seem to do much for him. Although maybe then he can play rook b8. So he could consider e4, I guess, but that always feels very loose if he does it. He might have to. e4 is actually not such a stupid move, I guess. He has knight e5 coming then, which is a bit annoying, but it can get very messy. Like, for example, e4, rook b3, e takes d3, queen takes d3, knight e5, queen takes d6, and who knows what's going on. Okay, so he went for this. I probably was a bit careless to allow it, actually. But maybe I can find something here. So rook b3, ed3, queen d3, knight e5, queen d6, and queen f7 looks very good for him. Knight e2, ed3, queen d3, knight e5, queen d6 is probably a better bet. So I'm going to go knight e2 here. And knight e5 first, but now I thought I could, if I start with knight f4, knight f4, e takes d3 is probably a bit annoying, but let's see. de4 feels like the move. Knight c4, maybe e takes f5 even, rook takes f5, rook b3, and I don't know. I have a feeling I've misplayed this, but let's see what happens. You only live once. So let's check on f5. Probably he should take with the rook. If he takes with a bishop, I think I can take on c6, and then I will have queen b3 check at the end. And of course, if he takes b6, I have bishop takes d6. So yeah, he heard me. He took with the rook. Now I'm just wondering if I can do anything funky. I believe the answer is no, so I'm going to have to play solid and boring with rook b3, but this doesn't seem so bad. Like, I have knight f4 or knight d4 coming, and I don't think he has any great discoveries with the knight on c4. All right, so he just takes it. Fair enough. And now let's go rook d3 and stop d5. And okay, this is probably reasonably balanced, but we'll see. Maybe I can make some trouble for him. Let's go, I guess. Let's start with queen a4. Seems like a sensible move, because he cannot play rook a8 or c5. So first things first, seems like getting the queen somewhere intelligent is good. I'm maybe ready for rook c1 next, and it seems okay for me. Right, so queen f6 stops any hope of rook c1. That seems obvious enough, but if I go knight d4, bishop to f7 is fine, I think. Let's go h4 and take control of the f4 square. All right, so I'm going to stick the knight on f4 now that I've controlled the square to a point that I'm satisfied with it, and now I can go rook c1 without having to fear g5. Okay, h6, not a subtle move. He clearly wants g5, so I'm going to play rook d2 so that I'm ready with knight h5. I actually think I'm a bit better here now. All right, so that'll stop knight h5, but rook c2 comes, and now he will struggle to defend the d5 pawn. Wait, what? Can I not take c6? I thought I could just take on c6 here. Let's take g5 first, that's best policy, then take on c6. Bishop e8. Oh man, is he just a genius and too good for me? That wouldn't be surprising, I guess. Rook c6, rook f6, rook c1 check, and am I lost there? Let's take this, rook c1, king h2, and then knight g6 check. That seems to be okay. Rook c1, king h2, bishop a4, knight g6. He can play bishop f6 if he wants, but that's not a winning proposition after queen a3. Yeah, so I think I got lucky here, but I'm going to survive this and maybe win it. Take, check. So I guess we'll start with rook f7 or rook f5 maybe. Let's go rook f5, seems safer. Okay, so now I should be winning this, but I do have to be careful. Let's go rook f7. I think that's good. King g8, bishop d5, and okay, at the very least I'm taking all of his pawns, but I think I can do better than that. So let's start with, let's go this check. Yeah, okay, this is, I can play bishop e4, of course, but it's not that exciting. But I don't really see another idea, so I'm gonna do it. And he will survive this after g4, I think. So let's go rook c4. But I have some chances here. I can hope to bring my king around, and then maybe sacrifice for one of his bishops at some point, but I think he should hold this. So let's go rook a4. Yeah, all right, you know what? I don't think I'm better here. Let's just opt for a draw. If he thinks he's playing for a win here, I'd be very surprised, but I suppose stranger things could happen. That one. Let's just come back, I guess. Yeah, you're not winning this, so I don't know why we're still playing. Here. All right, let's just take this and make a draw. Okay, so lots of draws. I think I definitely should have won some games and lost some games, but we're making lots of draws instead. So that's fine. I'm still in the lead, but I think I've been missing a lot of chances. But there was also that game I was absolutely lost, and I somehow managed to miracle a queen down with pawn on d2. Okay, so let's try this business again. Bishop g5, sure. Trumpowski, huh? That's the thing you play when you need a win? I don't know, let's see. Okay, so let's just go c5 and we'll just develop calmly and not try to do very much. It's okay, so b6 and the bishop comes to b7, and now I think the main thing here they try now is like queen b1 or something. 95. Doesn't seem that great. If I take it and go knight d7, I don't know. I'll start with h6. Can't be wrong. Bishop f6. Oh, it can be wrong. Gets bishop b5 check. Man, I'm just missing everything. I think queen a4 might have been better than bishop b5. Because now, I mean, this looks really stupid, but if I go g6, king g7, how bad can it be? All right, sure, g6, that's fine. I think he has to do something reasonably direct or he's not going to be better, but this whole bishop b5 a4 feels a bit strategic because like my position is fine. I have bishop pair, nice healthy center, no major weaknesses. It's just my king ended up going to f8 like a doofus. And the only question is if he could have done something and started throwing f4, g4 at me before I was able to defend, but I think so far I have this under control. So bishop d3, if he gets queen c2, that looks like something of an issue, but let's go king g7. If queen c2, there is bishop d6, and then okay, let's see. Queen c2, bishop d6, and then I think this isn't so bad. Bishop d6, f4 though. So I got to start with queen e8. That's sad, but this is certainly not the end of the world either. And it's going to be very hard for him to actually make serious threats. Okay, so a5, this allows me to play b5, which I should probably take the option of doing. Maybe with c4 first. c4, bishop c2, b5, and then yeah, let's do that here, and then b5, and maybe I'm a bit worse here, but it doesn't seem so terrible. Bishop c6. He can play bishop f3 and throw e4 at me if he wants, but it's not particularly scary. I'll just like rook b8 or whatever. He should probably play f4 here, but then I was thinking I could go knight e4 and try to lock the game up a bit. So knight e4, bishop f3, and f5 or something. I might get myself mated by g4 later though. Yeah, all right, let's go knight e4 and try to lock the position. I was worried about bishop f3 and then e4 coming. Once the knight is bolstered on e5, that plan looks a bit more dangerous than it was prior. Okay, so he takes it and goes b3. This I didn't think was great, but let's see, maybe he'll educate me. So if I take and go rook b8, can he take this pawn from me? Maybe, but I don't see how, at least not yet. This, I don't know, maybe I'm just getting outplayed every game. It wouldn't be that surprising, but after all my missed chances, I don't think I'm on great form here. The problem, again, this rook on h8 is just so bad. If I put that rook on c8, I'm obviously good to go, but it's pretty stupid where it stands. Okay, so bishop d6, and then knight c6, queen c6, bishop b5, queen c7. Is that so easy for him? g5 is coming. I don't know. If I play bishop d5, and then f6, where is his knight going? I don't know. I think I have to try bishop d5. I don't want to go down a pawn just yet. So f6, and now where does the knight go? I don't see it, so I'm going to play f6. If he has to bring the knight all the way back to g4 and then f2, I should be more or less okay, I think. All right, so knight g4. I guess I should play h5 first before anything else, I think. Get this knight off of any threats on the long diagonal, and now this feels a bit more solid. If rook a5, I can play like bishop d8 or something, and if I get a couple moves to go queen d7 and like rook c8, I should be fine. Okay, so queen c2 sort of forces f5. Don't want to think more than I need to. At some point, g5 could come though. So he does have to. It's not like completely one-way play where I have no counterplay at all. And this is the kind of position where I'm glad that I had played h5, because I wouldn't want to play f5 and allow this knight back to e5. That knight on e5 was really annoying, and now it's gone away, so I'm happy about that. Next move is probably like queen d7. Okay, so that one. Let's go. Sure, I said queen d7, so let's play it. All right, and now he's not threatening b5 just yet, and I don't see how he can add an attacker so easily, so I'm gonna just bring my pieces back. If c4, b4 should be fine. He disagrees, actually. He thinks this is a good structure for him. It's interesting. I'm not convinced at all about that. C5. Oh, that's why, because I just lose my pawn. That would be a good reason that I would be wrong. But G5 and G5 at least will make the game complicated for sure. But am I that desperate yet? Bishop A4, I can maybe save my pawn. Nah, let's go G5 and make a mess. I've misplayed this horribly, like every other game, but okay. So knight H3, Gf4, bishop G5, knight H5, and like king F7 or something, and start to attack. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do well this game under normal means. So let's do something a bit rash here, and start throwing stuff. Throwing stuff in blitz is often a pretty good idea. He can play G3, but H4, and I would start to worry if I was him. He should play knight H5, but okay, G3, let's go H4, and this feels complicated. He can take B4 for sure, but okay, so I take back, and then take G3, and then he gets EF4, I guess, is his big point, but this still feels pretty dangerous for him. So let's start with rook H8, and then this does, I mean, his rook was a hard time getting back to the defense. All right, so that's a good move. He wants to get the king out of dodge, but I can I keep him in the kill zone? Let's start with queen E7 and try to, so rook H2. And his king is definitely gonna have some trouble here, so check. And if I go queen F2, does he have a big idea? Or maybe rook H1 and queen E1 is even stronger? No, let's go queen F2. This feels like, oh, did I just blunder D5? Oh my gosh, what an idiot I am. No, but this is still okay because I have rook H1 check. But I did blunder bishop H5. Just blundering absolutely everything, like a total knucklehead. And that's the end, right? Oh man, just blunder absolutely everything. I've been outplaying him so badly. All right, so we're tied up. Oh boy, that was depressing. Okay, stay focused. Let's go C4. This is funny. The other matches I was playing terribly and winning, and this one I think I'm playing pretty well and not winning, so we'll see. Can't believe, I feel like I've missed a ton of chances this match. And he's only missed one. All right, so he wants to try that bit last game business again, that's fine. H5, huh? This is not supposed to be great. Let's go knight F3. I think this is right. And then E4, knight H4, and it's messy, but I like white's position. Okay, you're not going to beat me by playing H5 and then not playing E4 and not playing H4, so. Okay, D4, take the whole center. Back to basics. If they attack on the flank, you attack on the center? Yeah, sure. Take, sure, bishop G2, I guess, and this feels like I should be doing very well. But I've always felt like I'm doing well and I'm not winning the match, so, you know. If he plays H3, I think I'm going to go bishop F3, knight E5, and just let him take either C4 or F3, whatever he wants. I'll play like bishop F4 or something, or knight F5, and just start attacking things. But this whole H5, H4, when I can open the center, it feels very far-fetched. But maybe that's a sign that he's not happy with the positions he's getting in this in the English. He's burning a lot of time. F6, sure. So bishop e3, I guess, seems pretty normal. Let's play it. And he has to start worrying about like knight d5 coming. I mean, this is so hard to believe black can play like this. 85. Wow. Okay, so let's go knight d5, I guess, threatening knight b5, and then this position looks absolutely horrendous. And then knight d5, he can at least play c6 is a little annoying though. Could just castle and invite him to try to mate me. Could also play like queen b3, feels like a pretty reasonable move, but hang on. I should maybe take a little bit of time here, but not too much. So knight d5, c6, knight f6, knight f6, and that's a bit annoying. Let's just go queen b3, and then he can play knight g4 if he wants, but I have knight d5 in response. So that shouldn't be a problem. And I'm potentially ready for castling long as well, which is a generally useful thing to do here, I would think. Because castling short, I mean, I'm not terrified of it, but it feels like it might be asking for trouble a little bit. HG, okay, so HG back, take, fair enough. If knight g4, I have knight d5, so I'm not sure I see his big idea. All right, let's find out. Knight d5. Takes, check. And now is knight b5 the end? Not quite. All right, so let's just be calm and castle. It's not like his bishop is going anywhere. So let's not play bishop f3 and blunder everything. But knight b5, and what is his move? I don't see it. Knight takes c6, knight takes f6, and I'm good. So knight b5, and am I just taking his stuff? Bishop f5, knight bc7, rook c8. That's a bit annoying, but all right, let's just go knight b5. This feels like the move. Bishop f5, I can also consider c5. If c6, I have knight takes f6, of course, being the big idea. But so knight bc7, rook c8, and somehow he's alive there. Yeah, that's very frustrating. But let's see. So what if I start with c5 though? This looks so bad for him, but maybe he'll survive somehow. All right, let's play c5. And I'm ready for knight dc7 potentially next. Rook c8 first. I thought maybe I could take a7 then, but perhaps that's a bit too anxious. If I play bishop e4, what's his next move? Bishop e4, and then knight a7 is too much, I think. So, but this bishop on f5 is really annoying. So hang on, bishop e4. Let's just take on f6. There's bishop e4. Okay, bishop e4. He goes take, c6, knight f6, and I lose. So I'm just going to take on f6 and then take on b7. I think is the easiest course of action. So queen f6, and then if bishop takes b7, I don't see a great move for him. Rook e8, sure. Queen where d2 seems like a good square. And then I'm ready for knight takes c7 next. And okay, queen e5. It's a good move. Man, he's playing a lot of good moves, but let's see. So queen c3, if queen e2, knight c7 looks pretty good. All right, let's go queen c3. He can take on c3 and take on c5, but that's not great. So here, knight c7, and now I think I'm in good shape. Where does his rook go? No good square. Rook b8, bishop f3, I guess, or maybe c6. I have no time. Oh, shoot. Okay. cd6, rook b7. Let's go cd6. This looks interesting. c7, bishop d7, rook d7. No. Knight f6. Do I have knight e6 check? I think so. So there, I'm going to start with this check, and then this check, and then take his rook. And if he gets himself out of this one, I don't deserve to win the match. So let's go check first, queen c2, and that's a queen trade. So check, and now queen c2. Okay, so there we go. All right, so now we're into game 8. So I believe I win the match with a draw now, but I'm not going to play like passively or anything like that. Okay, let's go d5. He was doing pretty well with this knight f6 business, with this Trompowski. I don't believe in the Trump, but at least here I'm going to maybe play a bit more solidly. Let's go c5, 3, knight c6, sure. c3, and now I believe my big idea was bishop f5 here. This was my chessable idea, to delay knight f6. And then at this point, I can't quite get away with queen b6, I don't think. So I start with knight f6, and this I think is fine for me. Bishop b5, sure. So let's go bishop d6, I guess. But I'm not sure if I'm playing this right or not. I think, no, I think I remember there's some line, bishop c6, bc, queen a4, queen d7 or whatever, bishop d6, and queen a3, and I end up worse. So I have to be, man, I'm just playing this so badly. All right, queen a4, that feels wrong because now I can castle. Yeah, I'm gonna castle now and sacrifice a pawn. I mean, he can take c6, take d6, and queen a3, but I'm not thrilled with that. I think that I have decent counterplay after knight d7 then. So yeah, knight b3, and now like rook fb8, for example, and there is a bit of counterplay that I think he has to be careful of. But like DC queen c7 or something, and I can play a5 and e5, and but I'm playing so badly today. Okay, castle short. Sure. Can start with bishop d3, tell his rook to move somewhere. Yeah, let's go bishop d3 and then make him, or maybe I should go rook b5 and keep this pawn alive. Rook b5, dc, knight takes b5, and knight d4. That was annoying. So I have to be a bit more careful than that. All right, let's just go a5 and gain space. It's hard to believe that's so terrible. Knight c5, I will take it, and queen c7, and now this is the kind of thing, like it looks like I'm just a pawn down, but it's actually very hard for white to coordinate because, I don't know, maybe he can just play b3 here, but e5 comes, and it's hard for him to get his pawns moving, and I do have some counterplay on the king side, but, and like if he plays queen b2, queen e7, for example, it's sort of hard to defend his stuff. So I think I'm worse here, but it's probably not that terrible. So if I go like queen e7 now, seems like a good place for the queen. If c4, I can take it, and he cannot take with the rook. So, and if rook d1, there is bishop g4. This is the kind of thing, like, I think that he could have played this better. But all the same, I am down a pawn, so I can't talk too much. Rook fe1, I don't understand. Oh, he wants to play c4 without bishop d3 hurting him. That makes sense. So I will put the bishop on d3 first, preemptively stopping c4. And no, this doesn't seem so easy for white. Like, he can't easily put a rook on d1, and okay, queen b2. So now he's potentially threatening c4 with knight e5 next, so I guess I have to play f6. Queen d2, but now bishop e4 comes, and what's the big idea? Where's the knight going? I think I might survive this. I mean, I've been playing so badly, but knight h4, queen c5, f3, bishop g6 looks safe enough. Okay, so c4, I'm going to take it, and then cd, queen d5, and black has to be fine there. Yeah, so queen d5, and now this endgame has to be absolutely fine. He agrees, he doesn't want the ending, but now I can go a4 and start to make trouble that way, or I can take on f3 first and then go a4. I guess let's start with take on f3 and then a4 comes, and this should be very holdable. So a4. If rook cd1, I will play queen f7, and I think I have this under control. ba takes, and if anyone's better here, it's black, but let's just start with like h6, make some safety for my king, and I think I've got this under control. So h3, and now he's sort of begging to get checkmated, actually, but should I go mate him, or at least try? Rook h4, rook c6. Let's go rook h4. This feels like it very powerful. King h2, and now queen h5 comes, and then I take f3. Yeah, okay, this is bad news for white. Take f3, and then queen g2, I guess makes sense, but I have a hard time believing I will manage to lose this position. So let's go rook c8 to overprotect this pawn, and then rook a4 will come next. And he can double on the 7th, I guess, but I always have king h8 and rook g8, or king h7, rook g8. So let's go king h7, and he can play rook b7, rook g8, but I'm quite safe here. And now he has to come back. I will go rook a8, and if rook back to b7, rook back to g8. So so he wants, naturally he doesn't agree to a draw, that makes sense, but okay, save the more important pawn. And then rook back here, and rook back here, and I think I'm rather easily saving this position. Well, saving it, I'm a pawn up, I don't think I'm worse. All right, so let's go rook a8 and start perpetuating his rooks so that he has to leave the 7th rank. Okay, so I'll start with this one. There, sure. King h7 is fine. And then rook c7, and okay, we're done here. I will not lose this position. h5. So here, king g3. Okay, sure, let's go rook c4, and now maybe I can even just beat him. Might be one way of doing it. Rook c1, and now I'm going to go mate him. So rook into c2, and I have at least perpetual, so let's just end the game like that. Now rook c2, rook f6, and yeah, perpetual. So rook c2, and check, and check. So I believe that's the end of the match. If I miscounted and I needed to win another game and should have won this, I'm going to get mad at myself. But I believe that that's the end. So yeah, great match to Nihal. This was a very interesting one. We both clearly had our chances in a lot of games. I think I missed a lot of chances and you missed a lot of chances. But it was really interesting. You're definitely delighted to play with you, and I'm really looking forward to playing the main invitational, and I wish you all the best for upcoming events and this stuff. I think you're a great player with a great future.
Thank you. Congratulations, Sam. You're the winner of the Qualifier A.
Yay, rah, rah, rah.
Thank you for being here, for having you. It was a great match.
Okay, my pleasure.